back to our Zero Waste video series. Last week we talked about why to compost. Today we're going to talk about how to compost. There are many ways to compost, so you can pick the one that's right for you, so you can help turn organic discards into valuable soil. We'll briefly cover 3 ways to compost: backyard, vermicomposting, and curbside or drop-off composting. This video was made in partnership with the Denver Compost Challenge, a grassroots effort to encourage more Denver residents to compost. Let's start with backyard composting. If you're interested in a hands-on composting experience and have the space, backyard composting is an easy way to turn some of your food scraps and yard trimmings into an amazing, nutrient-rich soil amendment for use in your own gardens. To start composting in your backyard, you'll need a compost bin or tumbler. You can buy one or you can make your own. Using a bin or container helps keep your materials in one place and helps keep in moisture. You'll want the compost bin or pile to be about 1 cubic yard, or 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet, to allow for enough heat to be generated while allowing air to pass through the materials. Next, you'll add materials to your compost bin that add nitrogen and carbon. Sources of nitrogen, also known as greens, include food scraps, coffee grounds, green leaves, and fresh grass clippings. Sources of carbon, also called browns, include fallen autumn leaves, small twigs, and coffee filters. You'll need both greens and browns because the microbes that help break down the materials need both nitrogen and carbon. Bones, meat, eggs, cheese, and other dairy products or oils should be kept out of the backyard bin and be put in a curbside compost cart or thrown in the garbage if this service is unavailable. You might hear about different ideal ratios of greens to browns. Ideally, you'll want at least 2 parts brown to 1 part green. However, if you're just getting started, don't worry too much about the ratio. If simplicity is one of your goals, just thoroughly mix both greens and browns into your compost bin. Get some oxygen in there by turning the pile with a pitchfork or shovel a couple times a week to allow air in. You'll also want to keep the pile moist, like a damp, wrung-out sponge. Feed it, turn it, keep it moist, and composting will happen. Another way you can compost at home is by vermicomposting. If you don't have a yard or are worried about bears where you live, vermicomposting might be right for you. Vermicomposting, or worm composting, can be done right under your kitchen sink. To start this process, you'll need a 5-gallon container or larger, red wiggler worms specifically suited for vermicomposting — you can actually buy them online from a worm farm — and organic materials. The worms will happily eat all of your kitchen scraps, then turn them into a compost soil amendment that can be added to your soil outside or potted plants indoors. Lastly, where services are available, we can compost using curbside compost service or drop-off compost bins. In the city and county of Denver, if you live in a single-family home or a multifamily building with up to 7 units, the city will provide you with a green compost cart for $9.75 a month. You can choose between a 65-gallon or a 95-gallon cart. So for less than the cost of 2 cappuccinos, compost is picked up from your home on a weekly basis. If this sounds like something that works for you, go to the Denver Recycles website for more information or call 311 and choose the size that suits your needs. Denver also offers a convenient place to take your compost at the Cherry Creek Recycling Drop-Off at South Quebec Street and Cherry Creek South Drive. This location is free and accepts food scraps, leaves, grass clippings, and branches. If you live in a building with more than 7 units within Denver, there are several local companies who will pick up your food waste on a weekly basis for a small fee. Compost Colorado, Denver Compost Collective, and Scraps are the 3 companies that offer services to multi-unit buildings and businesses. For more information about price and service areas, be sure to check out their websites. Now let's talk about what can go into compost if you have access to curbside composting. You can compost even more materials in the cart than you can in a backyard composting bin, because these materials will be sent to an industrial facility where composted materials reach higher temperatures, speeding up the biodegradation process. That means that in addition to being able to compost spoiled or moldy food, kitchen food scraps, or food waste we wouldn't want to eat, like coffee grounds, peels, pits, shells, and seeds, you can also include items you definitely don't want to add in the backyard compost pile, such as meat, bones, cheese, eggshells, oil and fat, poultry, and fish. These items attract unwanted critters to backyard compost piles, but you can place them in your curbside carts. Additionally, your yard waste can be tossed in carts year-round, including branches, grass clippings, weeds, and leaves. Many paper products can be composted in the cart too. Paper products like uncoated paper plates, paper napkins, and paper towels can be composted. Other paper products like plain tissue paper and wax paper can be tossed in along with untreated wood products like wooden or bamboo chopsticks and popsicle sticks. If something looks too shiny, looks like it may have a plastic coating, or doesn't feel like uncoated paper or wood, it's better to keep it out of the compost since plastic is the enemy of compost. Finally, specially designed compostable products like compostable plates, cups, food containers, and utensils can be put into a curbside compost bin but should not be placed in backyard compost bins. To be sure a product is compostable in your curbside bin, look for the BPI certified compostable label. And when in doubt, throw it out. Here's Marley with the Denver Compost Challenge with more information about composting in Denver.
Thanks, Rosie. Hi everyone, I'm Marley, and I'm here to tell you more about composting resources for Denver residents. If you have any questions, Denver Recycles provides useful guides with pictures and tips to help maximize your use of the compost carts. They also work with Denver Urban Gardens to offer free Learn to Backyard Compost classes. Go to denvergov.org/compost for more information and resources. Today, almost 25,000 households are enrolled in the Denver Compost Program. That's a 20% increase in just the last year. But we still have a long way to go to decrease the huge amount of organic material that ends up in the Denver landfill. Research shows that people are more likely to compost if a friend or neighbor talks to them about why they compost and offers support and information. The Denver Compost Challenge is a grassroots effort focused on encouraging community members to talk to their friends, family, and composting. You can be a part of the change by signing up for a compost cart yourself and by talking to your community about composting.
Thanks, Marley, and thank you for joining us for this week's lesson on how to compost. We'll see you next week.